Today is Thursday, April the 10th. I hope you're having a great day. Adam, I'm really excited about this next series that we've just jumped into. Not that, like I told you last week, I was really excited about the Kingdom Calculation series. I just really like where we're going this year, or we're just jumping into different things. But spending time really dialoguing about and thinking through the times that Jesus ate something with people, right?
Yeah.
Had a meal with people and shared them. And really these intimate moments that he got invited into to be a part of their life. Because I don't know about you watching, but I know me, like, I don't just eat with anybody, right? I'm kind of picky about who I eat about because there's a letting your guard down in those spaces to let people in. So I'm excited to hear the next few weeks. You're talking about Zacchaeus this coming Sunday. And I'm just excited to see where we're going as we get close to Easter. By the way, if you've not started inviting people at Easter, it's a great time right now. Pause what you're doing, invite someone to Easter with you. But I want to wrestle through some questions. A lot of people heard me talk this weekend, so I have some questions I'd love to hear you help wrestle through. Is this. First one, how does the concept of Jesus welcoming messy people, because we talked about that a lot this weekend, how does it challenge your understanding of who can be a part of our faith community?
It opens things up a lot, you know. So you mentioned this series where now I really appreciate it because the meals, dinners and meals, lunches, snacks, I mean, whatever it is,
Where
right?
food is had.
Where food is had. That is a good professional communicator statement.
You got it.
Where food is had, that's what matters. That's where change happens. And we see it happen with Jesus, right? We see transformation happen every time he sits down. So like this week coming up, Zacchaeus, the change happens at the meal.
Yeah.
Right? That it doesn't happen in the tree or on the roads, at the meal. And I think when it comes to our faith community and our church, right? People that are joining and being part of this here, we see it happen at meals. That's why we have things like picnics, and we have oikos meals, and we have various gatherings, you know, Thanksgiving meals and all of our oikoses and gatherings around, and we have all this stuff going on. When we think about them, though, messy people come in, and you know what it's like. If you have a meal and somebody comes to your house, or somebody comes to the church, or someone goes to a picnic and they get there, you know. And if you tell me I'm wrong, then I will know that you're lying to me, right? Because you know what it's like to see that person walk up, and you know that person. They have problems that they like to talk about. They have struggles that they like to talk about. They're loud. Maybe they use language that you are not comfortable with. You know what it's like when you see them walk up, and you have that feeling that you know, I know I need to love them, and I do love them, but it exhausts me. You know that's like, right? And for people to join into the family of Jesus like that, we have to deal with those things a little bit. There are times people are going to join in. I remember a moment, Keenan, where, and I've told you this story before, I've never said it publicly, I don't think, but I remember a moment that an individual, many years ago, an individual that's since moved away for life and work and those things, came to our church, was struggling. They were messy, and they had a particularly rough week and weekend. And off the side of our gathering space here at the church building, we were talking, he and I, and in his frustration, he's sharing these things, and he's like, from his gut, he's sharing them, and he used some really choice language, dropped a really big F-bomb, F-word right there in the middle of it, loudly and angrily, and just all this stuff. Right as the door opened, and this sweet lady who I love walks in, gets about to step in, looks up, looks at him, looks at me, and backs out of the room. Right? When people show up that have messes, problems, use language we don't like, and they're loud and abrasive, maybe, we have to be willing to open the doors of our family. Because if we aren't, then we have forgotten what our family exists for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you said this, and it just got me thinking even more. Like, I think a lot of you watching this would agree. Like, yeah, I love people. I let people into my home. I let them do that. And I said it earlier, and I think these two statements go together. I'm picky about who I eat with, right? And you can say, oh, I love them, but I have people I struggle with, and I think if you're honest, you do too, where I don't mind them being in my house, as long as they're on the other side of the room. Right? There's space between us. I don't want them close to me because I can't stand them. They're draining to me. They're this or this. Well, then the real question is, how much do I love them?
Yeah.
Right? Because Jesus loved people enough to sit next to them.
Yeah.
Even the ones who might be draining. And so that's a heart check for me. And it also reflects when I welcome messy people, am I actually welcoming them, or am I welcoming them to the fringes?
Yeah.
Because it's different to welcome them to the fringes. If I'm not willing to sit down next to them, let them sit down next to me, then how can I let my kids, how can I let my spouse, how can I let anybody who gathers in that space with me, if I'm not leading the way in it, why would they want to do it too?
Yeah. We had some folks at our house, had a group that came in this past Sunday night, actually. And one of the people that was in the group, we love this individual. We love her. We love her spouse. We love the family, right? She wasn't feeling very good. And throughout the evening, she got feeling worse and worse and worse, right? And just wasn't feeling great and all this. And if you know much about me, then you might have picked up that I tend to lean toward the world of hypochondriac. And that's kind of where I lean at. And so the whole time, she's feeling worse and worse and worse. And in my mind, I'm hearing this whole, like, she's gonna make you sick. Like, you're getting sick, Adam. Like, are you feeling sick right now? Did our start in? What's going on here? But I'm also feeling we love people, we love her, we love the family, and sometimes opening the family up, the nuclear family or the church family up to people that are messy or sick or loud means that we risk our own health. We risk our own things. I've talked to a dad recently, Keenan, about his kids, right? And man, I love my kids. I love your kids. I talked to this dad who passionately loves his children and wants to protect them from all the problems in the world. And as his kids are getting older, one of them wants to hang out with some people that he's like, I don't know them very well. What do I do? And we just talked about how sometimes opening ourselves up to people in the world that are coming into the church even means that we risk our kids in that. He did not like hearing that. That's a hard thing, but it's true. Like, opening the family up means that we risk everything, but we risk it because we believe beyond a shadow of a doubt what this family is about, what it means and what it stands for.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna have the DNA of our Father in us, then our family's going to look like his, like he wants it to.
I think that's a great segue into the second question I wanted to ask, which was, in what ways do you think the clean disciples reacted to Levi being called to follow Jesus? And what does that reveal about our human nature?
Yeah, you did a great job this past weekend. I really thoroughly enjoyed hearing how you gave this look at the first seven. You call them the first seven, right? And Peter and Andrew and James and John and
Philip
and Nathaniel. Yes, I know them. I promise. As you gave these first six, the good Jewish boys that came in, and then there's the tax collector. The tax collector. This weekend coming up, not to give away too much, but Luke chapter 19, the first 10 verses, it's Zacchaeus' interaction with Jesus. And I'm looking forward to already preaching this and sharing how they interacted in the crowd. And the crowd was eager because of things they had already seen Jesus do on that same trip, stories he had told, and events that had happened. When Zacchaeus shows up, I think the crowd was there waiting with bated breath, what is going to happen next, right? I think the disciples and people in Jesus' immediate circle there, I think they probably handled it just as poorly as we do. The difference was where if I handle it poorly, you hold me accountable. And if you handle it poorly, that guy holds you accountable, right? When they handle it poorly, Jesus himself held them accountable, which is a level of authority that is a little higher. I think they probably handled it just as poorly as we do, because they were learning. Every single thing that you and I struggle with, that we struggle when it comes to prejudices or biases or whatever, those things have always existed.
Yeah.
Different labels, different descriptions, they've always existed.
Yeah. And I think it comes in dealing with our human nature, it comes from a place of self-protection, right? Preservation, that, like you were talking about, to allow people in who you deem sick or unworthy or unclean, as the disciples would put it, gives you the, like, if I invite someone into my home who's sick, there's the chance my wife, my children, myself are going to get the germs and we're going to get sick.
Yep.
And it's easier to keep you out than it is to serve you, which kind of flips the script. Like for me, like I think of Mother Teresa a lot in this, someone who just flipped the script on things. If you could read a lot about her life, one of the things I loved about her life was she purposely went to where people were sick and were hurting, and where other Christians and people who follow God wouldn't go to because they were afraid of getting sick. She's like, somebody needs to love these people.
Yeah.
And she lived a great life, but she could have died really early from all the sicknesses and diseases that she was exposed to, but she did not care. I mean, granted, it was just her own life. It's not like there's a lot of other things that go involved when you're protecting a family too, but it's the same principle of like, but she loved people. Because if you read through her letters and if you read through the things she talked about, she realized that people are made in the image of God and they're worth loving, even in their weakest moments, even in their sickest moments. But that's why, if you get married, one of the things they talk about is, I will say this from the States, in sickness and in health, right? It's hard to love people when they're sick. They get whiny. I get whiny when I'm sick, right? When I'm sick, I mean, it's hard in those moments. They get pathetic. I get pathetic when I'm sick. And it's hard in those moments. You just want to roll your eyes and be like, I don't want to serve this person. And I think spiritually we do that to people.
We do. We do.
Because it's easier to just brush it off. It's easier on us to love people who are healthy than it is to love sick.
Yeah. And the easiest thing for us to do is to build a house, put a big fence up, buy the properties around us so no one else can move in there, distance ourselves from people, and live in a little bubble where we protect and we control everything that happens there in our home. That's not what Jesus called us. That's not Jesus' way at all. The easiest thing for us to do as a church is to hang out in our building and never step outside and to gatekeep who gets to come in the building. That is not what Jesus wanted, right?
Yeah.
We've had families that have left because we wouldn't tell everyone in the church they all had to believe one certain way, and that's not what the family wants, right? We open it up, we become one messy conglomerate, and we follow Jesus, taking one next step after another, letting each one be more faithful, no matter what the risk is for us.
Yeah. I would be interested to hear what you learned this weekend, this past weekend, maybe even some other things that you were wrestling with, and maybe some questions we didn't ask, just what it means to follow Jesus and to accept messy people at the table, and reminding yourself you're messy too.
Yeah.
Join us this weekend. It's Palm Sunday, or the Palm Sunday weekend. It's the week before Easter. We're looking forward to a time of gathering, learning about the life of Zacchaeus and what it means to sit around the table with him. You can join us Saturday night at 6 o'clock at our North Heights campus, or Sunday morning at 8, 9:30, or 11, or join us online at 9:30. But make sure you join us. Be a part of what God's doing in this place and take next steps in following Him. Church, until we see each other again, you are sent. Have a great day.